Alright, we've got an incredibly hyped game here from week 1 of SPL, whatever number this is. I think it's like 14 or something. And SPL 2023. But this is going to be, well, okay, a lot of the time these super hype games between two elite players wind up being not as good or competitive or whatever as you would hope for because, especially in best of one, because dumb stuff tends to happen. But for all we know, this game might be amazing. I'm not going to really analyze it live because as soon as team preview is over, these guys are going to start clicking really fast. And that's not because I think they're not thinking through what they're doing, but because you can't hyperthink through every turn, or then you run low on timer late in the game when uh, the you can map out a path more clearly because there are less pieces to consider, and you can wind up not being able to think that through as much as possible because you took too much time early in the game when you didn't need to. So they're taking time at team preview though because you get a full minute back from team preview. That's something very good to know. There's really no reason not to take those 60 seconds at team preview because you're going to get it back right on turn 1. So lets you map out stuff, lets you save a lot of time. Those of us unfortunate enough to play metagames without team preview, then you don't need that 60-second pre-turn 1 thing because you should know what you're doing against opposing leads anyway. So yeah, if this game winds up being good and there's like some stuff of interest to be examined, then I will happily rewind it as soon as the game itself finishes and just analyze whatever is cool. But for now, all I'm thinking about is, whoa, there's a Kartana and a Toxapex, and I realize I have Gen 5 sprites on, and I think that gives it more personality, because you don't see those very often. Look at that sprite for Kartana. That's pretty cool. So I assume Kartana is not going to want to risk getting burned right away. And Ojama's switch-ins to Scald are Clefable and Gastrodon. Gastrodon would get Toxic, and Clefable at worst eats a knockoff. I don't think Clefable is going to be the Z-move user on a team with all of Magearna, Tornadus, Therian, and Kartana, but there are some Z-Clefs out there, although they're quite rare. And actually, maybe I'm hallucinating that. I swear I've seen like a Z Thunder Clef before. I think doesn't matter. Anyway, I think Clef is gonna come in. Empo can also, maybe he has something cool like Heal Bell Kartana. It's been so long, I don't even remember if Magearna learns Heal Bell anymore. I don't think it does. No, it definitely doesn't because that would have been used. But yeah, if Clef has Heal Bell, then he can just stay in and go for a knockoff here and get rid of Pex's item, and also Celesteela, because if Empo wants to play it safe, he can go to Celesteela, because that eats a CB Kartana Leaf Blade easily, and also has a good matchup against Clef. And matter of fact, Empo's Celesteela looks like a pretty big pain. Ojama's got longevity in terms of Gastrodon recovering and Torn-T having Regenerator. Yep, there's Scald. He's not going to want to play it that safe. Because Pex means you can kind of just stay in on stuff and go for Scald. We do see that the Clef is probably going to be Life Orb, though. Is the Pex going to have knockoff? No. Okay, so Clef switches into it with Impunity. But it also has T-Spikes, which are going to be annoying for Gastrodon, and Pinsir if it gets hit by them before Torn gets a chance to defog. So Clef has knockoff, and that knockoff felt like it did way too much damage. Maybe my internal damage calc is messed up. It feels like it's been messed up for a while. But is that like Life Orb knockoff Moonblast or something? Because that knockoff did way too much actual damage to the Pex and got rid of its Black Sludge. But yeah, the Pex not having Toxic. Actually, no, we don't know that it doesn't have Toxic. But the odds are higher that it doesn't because most Pex run Haze. I do love Hazeless Pex, though. It has so much to mess with the opponent in its move pool. It's just ridiculous. So there's the second layer to really ruin Gastrodon. That's big. The point I was making earlier about Celesteela is that, yeah, Gastrodon has recover and Torn T has regen, so it's not like Ojama is going to be on a fast ticking timer, but Leech Seed hits everything else, and Ojama's 2 Leech Seed immunes in Clef, and Kartana are both terrified of Celesteela. So, especially with T-Spikes, that's going to... Well, I mean, we're in a stall war here, so I'm going to check and see if there's anything still open that I can order to my door, because I foolishly did not stock up earlier. It's because I know that I can just order something to my door later, you know? It definitely enables laziness to some extent. Anyway, this riveting exchange is, I think, actually way more advantageous for Empo, because he's burning through Clefable's soft boiled if these keeps going on. Whereas I guess he's used a recover so far. Okay. And Clef is burned, so it's, you know, theoretical Life Orb knockoff isn't going to be doing much damage to much else. But yeah, it's also possibly Pain Split Magearna. A number of Magearnas could Pain Split. Oh, nice move. Oh, it's Mega. Never mind. That was a good move from Empo, because I'm so used to thinking of Zam in Gen 5 terms. And I was like, oh, he just switched in, and he was going to preserve the Saturn. He was going to encore the Clefable into soft boiled. And then I was like, oh, wait, this is after Gen 5. It's going to be Mega. So there's a focus miss on Magearna. So that's big. We don't see if the gear is going to have lefties or not. And also, you don't get a chance to suss out its EV spread and see if, you know, special defensive or... I mean, I assume it's going to be bulky, because he's got a ton of offense between Pinsir and Kartana, so you assume the other 4 Pokemon are going to have to form some sort of backbone. But yeah, not knowing what side of the defensive spectrum this Magearna leans on, that sucks, and seeing its item and whatnot, and just, you know, getting damage on Magearna is generally good. That was a really nice move on Empo's part, because he just knew Clef is not staying in, risking taking that Psychic. I mean, it's weird to focus blast into Clef like that, because it's not exactly like it was weak, but a lot of players don't pull that trigger, and that's why this match is so exciting. Empo and Ojama are both 2 of the most accomplished, successful, you know, elite players of all time, and Gen 7 OU is where they've achieved so much. And that Focus Blast, well, the first Focus Blast, was a great example. That Volt Switch does a chunk. I'm not going to say it specs Magearna, because that basically doesn't exist in Gen 7, and I also think that would have done a little more. I mean, my internal damage calc is, you know, rusty, but not that rusty, I think. You know, I hope I didn't just embarrass myself. But, yeah, Empo makes a nice move to not fall behind on momentum, and tries to just chip it somehow, but here comes what's referred to as the Vortex, and the Vortex originated in Gen 8, but I mean, people have been complaining about Volt Turn ever since Gen 5, for good reason too. Volt Turn is annoying, especially because Ojama's got rocks and Empo doesn't, so he can switch around with a lot more freedom. Thing is, he doesn't really instantly threaten Pex with anything. He's got to go back into this like weird little stall war. So yeah, he's it's gonna be Clef versus Pex again, and then I mean, Pex wins that, so it's not like it was much of a risky move there to go to Toxpex. That's why Pex is so good, because, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, okay, I'm as annoyed by Toxpex as anyone else, but I do generally like it when there's a tier with so much screaming offensive presence, and then there's a good defensive Pokemon to keep that in check. I think it's a positive force of the metagame. Also, that is definitely not a Specs Magearna. I was really worried, like, oh my god, what if that does Specs damage? But no. Okay, so in comes Empo's own Clef, not afraid of the knockoff, or is he just... Oh, no, he just wants rocks. Okay. And, okay, there go lefties. And... Okay, now we're going to have Clef Wars with Ojama down 2 soft-boileds. Okay, well, that makes things a lot more interesting. The double Focus Blast miss did really bite. Even if it's AV Magearna, then it's going to... You know, it's not going to be healing that chip off. especially since we now see that this Clefable does not have Wish. So it's whatever damage it sustains, it's keeping. It's not going to shrug it off. So nice move, very nice move from Empo there. Empo's really showing his stuff, and that is definitely an AV mag. So I was wondering if it was going to be like physically defensive Steelium Z mag, which is one of the few that don't use Volt Switch. Oh, there's a T-Wave. Oh, okay. Well, I guess it... Okay, what happened is, and please forgive me for my stumbling through this, is that as soon as I saw a Volt Switch on the mag without lefties, I assumed AV. Oh, Shuka Berry. That wouldn't have KO'd even without the Shuka, but Empo lets the Gliscor go, which I think is reasonable. And there's a lot to go through, so I think we're definitely going to rewind this game after, so I actually have time to go over it. But the basic idea is, other than the Focus Blasts mattering a lot more, and I think the odds of this gear having Pain Split kind of go up now. But yeah, when I saw it, the Magearna Volt Switch, I just assumed, okay, that's got to be AV then. And I assumed, and now that I see how much the -1 Flamethrower did, I just saw a Flamethrower doing so little to gear, and I was like, oh, it's AV, and then I realized, no, that's -1 Flamethrower. AV would take less than that. So, this is why it's important to double check your first impulses, especially when you're as out of practice as I am. But yeah, this is going to be a thriller. Empo is also definitely advantaged, not just because Celesteela... Well, okay, Alakazam poses an immense threat, that too, but also because Ojama's big threat is Pinsir, and Celesteela... I mean, okay, it doesn't love taking CC, but as long as he keeps it healthy, which seems very reasonable. Ojama's way of threatening to win this game is going to be... there's a Clef on the Focus Blast, good move, and Empo could recover here, and get some health back, which is important because otherwise Zam's on a timer. Yeah, okay. That little special defense boost Mega Zam got in Gen 7 is so underrated but so good. As you see right there, like if this was Gen 6, that Moonblast would have done a significant chunk more. For those who don't know, Mega Zam got, I believe, a 5 extra base special defense in Gen 7. Yeah, so we're going to see a few more recovers here. Ojama's way of threatening to win this game is to sweep with Pinsir, which rips through pretty much everything else, because I assume that's AV T-Tar. And to... now with the special attack drop, he goes to Mag, and I think he's going to take advantage of that minus special attack Alakazam to get a Pain Split off with gear. I can't think of much... I mean, okay, no, he threatens a T-Wave on it, and actually, no matter what, I think T-Wave might be the move here, because even if you T-Wave Clef, that's great, and if Zam stays in, it gets T-Waved, obviously, so Empo's not staying in here. No way, not a chance. T-Waving Pex or anything else would be great too. I think, yeah, it's going to be Clef. And, okay, there is Pain Split. So the gear's a little more healthy, ready to go. And now it is going to go for the T-Wave because if Clef Flamethrowers, then he gets to Pain Split again and weaken the Clef more and more. So, as I keep trying to say, and I can't because a live game moves at a quicker pace than what my preferred pace for analysis is, especially because there's a lot to get through if you're really going to deep analyze a game, which is why I usually do post-game. I also know I have a propensity for rambling, by the way. Oh, there's a nasty para there. Whether it was soft-willed or Flamethrower, because Flamethrower keeps Mag in... Oh, wow, that does a lot of damage. Yeah, okay, he is Flamethrowing because his... Okay, and Empo finally gets something back with the burn to finish off the gear. Alright, so... The goal there was to keep gear low so Zam could win. And the way Ojama is going to win this game with Pinsir, which is his actual threat, is by getting Kartana in and threatening... I'm actually surprised he didn't go to Kartana there. I don't know why, because it seemed pretty free, right? I guess, because Kartana either forces a knockoff on Tornado Steel... I guess he gets rid of Hazard, so that's useful. Okay, yeah. Oh, no, that was a really good move from Ojama. My point being, Kartana has to get in on something, threaten it out, force Celesteela in, and knock off the lefties, and then Celesteela has a harder time sustaining its own health to stay out of +2 range for pincer close combat. So at first I was thinking, why aren't you doing the whole Kartana, knock off thing? But that was, short-sighted of me. And again, I have to double check my first instinct. I think that's a really important thing for a lot of players, because even experienced players sometimes just go off their first instinct, and that first instinct does not consider the possibilities of many other plays, and those other plays are sometimes, what you need. Anyway, so this is very interesting because, so gear is down, and the Torn thing. Sorry, I was trying to figure out which of the 16,000 things I wanted to confirm. That Psychic hurts a lot. And he gets another special attack drop, but he's not going to be out of range for Psychic, but Gastrodon is going to be able to withstand it. But what was great about that Torn move is that, yes, okay, he doesn't force a knockoff or a KO with Kartana, but he gets the defog off, so no more T-Spikes. As you see, Gastrodon is in now. That's really big for Pincer, of course, with Stealth Rock weakness and T-Spikes as well. And he is able to get his own rocks back up again. So now he's actually going to put pressure with his Gastrodon. And Clef being so low and T-Waved is helpful because of, something even like this. And everything on Ojama's team outruns T-Wave Clef, and since it's at 5%, Empo pretty much will not have rocks anymore, and that's really big. Although it's still anyone's game. So Gastro, at the very least, if this Pex does not have Toxic, I mean, even if it does have Toxic, it's going to be a while before it can safely use it. But he's going to be burning through some good recover PP here, as there's the pivot to Celesteela to try and regen. Nice move from Ojama. If he burns, that's game over. Oh, he doesn't quite get it. And instead he goes to Gastro with the Storm Drain. Oh no, that's nasty. That was a really, really nice piece of, I don't know if it was bait by Empo, but, and there's the Toxic on Zam. So now it's on a timer, but it's going to grab a KO first. So the question is, what goes down? The 26 Clef, which, I mean, it kind of heals, or the 48 Gastro, which you can't guarantee isn't going to get T-Spike. Yep, it's Clef. So Ojama, especially because Empo does not have defog, so Clef got its rocks. It's done enough, and at this point, I think you go to the Kartana, which I assume is Scarf, to give the team a source of immediate speed, and you knock off. And I mean, you don't have to knock off necessarily, but if you knock off, then. Actually, if you knock off, then let's say Empo sacks Clefable, and then he can go to his AV-T-Tar, and AV-T-Tar will force a KO if the Scarf Cart is locked in the knockoff. So I don't think you can knock off. He's going to go to Torn T and not risk the... I mean, this is going to really sting. I assume Ojama's timer's down to 15. So I assume he was calcing to make sure he could live the +1. But yeah, everything that Scarf Cart locks into has some ugly consequences. If it locks into a stab, then Celesteela comes in, and well, I guess Celesteela's not so bad. Like if the maybe that would have been fine. But I guess he doesn't want to risk... oh, no, that dropped. Was that a miscalc or something? Or is it not Scarf Kartana? Okay, I guess it must not be Scarf Kartana, because that must have come in after. So now the Zam, at the very least, is in range of Pincer Quick Attack. But now it looks like... is he going to SD on the switch? Oh, he does! He pulls the trigger. Alright, Pincer is poisoned... But I think it KOs... Okay, no, it does... Okay, it doesn't necessarily KO everything. But it's got a limited number of turns in which to do it. Okay, good move returning there on either Protect or a Toxapex pivot. Because it would have been a reasonable move to say, oh, I'm drawing a CC here, let me go to Toxapex and get an extra turn of poison. There's T-Tar. It could be... Well, that doesn't just draw CC, but it also adds sand to the chip. So, a great move. Empo's got to preserve Celesteela at all costs, because that will defeat Kartana, and I think it might be able to handle a Poison Gastrodon if there's something else there. Now Cart comes in on the Ice Punch. I don't know if he was like fearing Scarf Tar or something, which is also very feasible. He's got a lot of special bulk on that team, so it doesn't necessarily have to be AV Tar. Because if it's Scarf Tar, then he's definitely not losing to Pinsir. So now here comes the Cart, and I guess that's the issue. What here? Ojama's timer down to 10, Empo's down to 60. Also, this is why you can't really analyze a game live, and I like analyzing stuff, so I'm fighting my urge to like pause the game and go, what could possibly happen here? Let's go through every single option. But going through every single option is a good habit to be in the competitive Pokemon sphere. There's Peck's great move because it scouts everything. Oh, except for a crit Leaf Blade. That's gonna sting. Okay, but he knows that, or he assumes that it's not Scarf Cart, unless Ojama just, lost his Tornadus as part of the greatest Scarf Kartana bluff of all time, in which case, that'd be pretty intense if he planned it out that way. But his timer's down to 10. I don't think it's Scarf. Down to 5. He's got to make a move. No, okay, he made a move. Empo's timer shows at 30. That would have been anticlimactic. All right, Gastro goes down. What if he recovers on the? That would be insane to recover on the switch like that. Traced Beast Boost not going to make a difference here, as he times out because he doesn't send Pinsir out in time. Oh no! Oh, this is gonna cause some anger, as observe the chat. Oh no! I think I mean, I can't imagine that was on. Uh-oh. Yeah, so, because the move was, easily to go to Pinsir and, at least go to Pinsir. Whether or not, Quick Attack or Swords Dance or CC or whatever, that's, whatever the move was first to go Pinsir, so you get, however many seconds back from that. But apparently Showdown did that thing where if the animation, the time it takes for the animation to happen, I guess counts towards your timer. I skip turn, which was what everyone else does here too, just because, if you're focusing, I find that the animation just makes me restless, and I'm like, no, I don't have time to be watching this. I need to be planning the next thing. So, wow, that's. Did I just say that it would be really anticlimactic if it timed out? Wow. I wonder if there's going to be, a public scandal over this. I don't think so though, because it seems pretty overwhelmingly clear that. Yeah. So, apparently, he was streaming his game on Twitch or whatever, and apparently as soon as the animation ended, the game ended. That's hilarious. Okay, no, it's not funny. It's really, it's messed up. It's funny in an awful way. If it happened to me, I'd be furious. Of course. But yeah, there's I guess now we won't know how it's going to pan out. I mean, okay, it did look like Celesteela was in a really good spot. Okay, well, let's go back and skip through the game. I think I said everything I wanted to about the battle itself, in a roundabout way. But yeah, Zam really threatening a lot of... Even with the Focus Blast miss, so Empo really played this well. I think both sides really played this well. What happened? Oh, some dumb stuff happened in the Smog Tours chat. Uh, uh, yeah, okay, that's not really my area of interest. I thought something relevant to this game happened. Anyway, so we go back to this. Yeah, I wonder what item this clef was. I, I mean, I'm not gonna calc it because I don't have the calc open, but and my computer will probably explode. But yeah, really nicely played by, especially this early focus blast. I think there's a lot to learn from this game. So yeah. So I assume that Torn Sack was not like, oh, I live +1. Because in retrospect, it's like, yeah, of course Torn died to a +1 Mega Alakazam Psychic. Are you insane? But it was more to get it in pincer range. So, yeah, really nicely. Like, even this little flamethrower was a really nice heads-up play by Empo. So, yeah, and even, you know, sacrificing the Gliscor, which is not really that important, just for the chip on mag. So you now see all these moves, you know, the Clef stuff, the Gliscor stuff, all going all in on the Magearna to facilitate a Zam cleanup. I am really intrigued by that Kartana not being Scarfed, though. I mean, Ojama's the experienced Gen 7 OU player, but I don't know, it just feels like it's a good pincer partner with, I guess if it's Z, then it, like, can wall break as well. I don't know, it just feels like you would want more speed against things like, Greninjas and whatnot. Or, like, even like a DD's X or something. I don't know, I mean, it's not like the team is slow without it. It's just, sometimes it's hard to use pincer until it's time to sweep, so... It's not like, you know, Kartana's fast even without it, so maybe I'm making a lot of ado about nothing. But it seems like Pinsir is such a good wall breaker, and Kartana is annoying with just knockoff, so it seems like a good pair. You know, Pinsir breaks through bulky stuff, Kartana cleans up the fast offensive stuff. I guess that's why the Magearna has Thunder Wave, though, specifically to slow things down and facilitate such a Kartana. So, yeah, wow. Yeah, I don't know if that Clef is Life Orb now, though, because that Moonblast doing 38, I don't know what else it would be as an item, though. Moonblast doing 38 to Mega Alakazam definitely does not feel like Life Orb damage, so I'm going to take that one back. I don't know about the Toxapex thing. Maybe it's just like Max Spidef Pex or something. But yeah, I really liked this play with the Storm Drain. I think if I'm going to be pedantic, and okay, I know it's not being pedantic, but I think that since Celesteela is so key to victory, also Ojama made an insane play, well, I don't know if it was an insane play, but a very good heads-up play by Scalding there, because if Peck stays in, then you might burn it. And if Celesteela comes in to try and absorb the Earth Power, because you're clearly going for a PP stall Gastrodon angle at that point, and maybe it'll help you out. Since Celesteela absorbing Earth Power not only burns Earth Power PP, but also gives Toxapex Regenerator so it can pivot in more easily. So that Scald was a really nice move, reading the possibility that Empo would do that, number one. And number two, even if it doesn't happen like that, then you might burn the Toxapex staying in, and burning Toxapex makes it really difficult for it to take Gastrodon on one-on-one. And Gastrodon becomes, you know, such a huge threat in and of itself. So that initial Scald on Steela was really key. But I think once Steela is in on Gastro, you can't Scald again, specifically because of this. Zam coming in, tracing Storm Drain, and doing what it did. Because that's when it really gets scary. I mean, Gastrodon is threatening to, like, sit on the whole team if that doesn't happen. Not only that, but also Celesteela can't afford to stay in and take and risk another Scald. Like, no way. Like, maybe it protects. Okay, fine. You're not going to do anything about that either way. But even if the Steela stays or protects, it's going to switch out after. You know, no way is it going to risk the burn after that. So, I mean, look, switching around Gastro at this point is kind of a whole set of choices of varying precarious degrees, but it's still you can't just throw Steela like that because that's when you're really toast. So I think Toxic or EP were probably EP. I guess you want to be conservative with the E power PP, but I don't know, it's much easier to go for Scald against Pex because you're not guaranteed. Because it's a lot less likely that Mega Zam will switch right into an Earth power. I mean, if this Pex doesn't show Toxic, then it's also very possible that it doesn't, and it just haze, then, Gastron's just going to sit on it forever, so you are in no rush. So, I think the Scald against Steela was a bit of, but was definitely a misfire. So, I mean, the +1 Psychic does 58, so without that boost, Mega Zam is never breaking through. So now Clef gets sacrificed, and so does the Torn, dropping it into quick attack range. I mean, great way to pull the trigger on that Swords Dance. That's a really tough move to make. No matter how much the Zam is going to... I mean, it's just difficult because you lose on the spot if it, But if you lose on the spot, if it just stays in Psychics. But there was no reason for it to stay in Psychic, especially with the Poison. So that Empo made the right move and Ojama made the right move. It's just that, in this scenario, the right move for both of them... That's why it was the right move for Empo. Because even if Ojama SDs, he's still fine. Especially if this T-Tar is actually Scarfed, which... yeah, Assaultfest is the one I think everyone got used to seeing because it actually checks things like Mega Zam, which, outruns Scarf Tar by a mile. But... yeah. That was, yeah, and I guess, and this is where the game ends. Okay, so... Yeah, I guess at this point, then Pinsir comes in, and it's like the same... I mean, it's not done, though. I mean, with Sand and Poison, so Pinsir's going to be at, what is it going to be, 48 after this? Because, minus 12, or 46 even. Wait, no, am I doing my math right? No, I'm not. No, yes I am, yeah. Yeah, because, 64 minus 12, or roughly, okay, I know it's 12.5, it's probably going to be a little under 64, but roughly, assume the absolute, worst case. 64 minus 12, down to 62, 52, Jesus Christ, no, 52, and then minus another 6 for Sand, brings it down to 56. So realistically, since it's not going to be 64, it's going to be 63 point something, and since it's going to be 12.5 and then 6.25, it's actually going to be, less than 56. And, then he's got Protect. I guess if he's got the Scarf Tar, then it doesn't even matter if Celesteela goes down, because, I mean... I guess you could also... If it's Scarf Tar, then I think you don't even have to... No, I don't think Superpower will always KO Kartana from 70. Kartana's really bulky. Because I was thinking, can you just go to sack Zam and then go to Celesteela and use Flamethrower? I assume it's especially defensive Celesteela there. To take on things like Tapu Lele. So you wouldn't get a defense boost from Beast Boost. But even if CC plus Sacred Sword does manage to KO you, then if Scarf Tar if Scarf Tar KOs Kartana, then it's simple. You just do that. And if not, then I think you go to Steela. If not, you go to Steela, you make Pinsir CC it, and then you pursue... Yeah, okay, no, you go to Steela for sure, because Pinsir has to CC it and take a bunch of damage, so if it is Scarf Tar, then you just pursued it after, and then Zam beats Kartana. So, yeah. So I think Empo had it, probably. I might be missing something. So feel free to let me know in the comments below. Anyway, that was a uh, wild one to spectate. I am glad I caught it live. I hope you enjoyed it as well, and I will catch you in the next one.